What's up, guys? It's your boy Darskin, and today we are back with another video talking about who you should go for between Green ESCANOR, Demon MELIODAS, and Red HELBRAM. Now, literally, I dropped my ESCANOR video, right? Literally, like, not even an hour after dropping it, somebody had questions. Like, yo, your ESCANOR video is cool and all, but who do I go for? And I'm just like... He was like, should he go for Demon MELIODAS or ESCANOR? And I was just like, well, neither are out, so it's like, it's kind of hard for me to say. Like, but then he was just like, well, tell me which one's better for global. So I'm like, all right, bruh. All right, bruh. So I just decided to make a video about it, talk about it, my thoughts and everything like that. Like, honestly, like, realistically, you can go for whoever you want, right? Like, let me get that out the way. Like, realistically, you can go for whoever you want. Because I know there are a lot of people. And when I say a lot... there are a lot of people that like ESCANOR. I personally don't care for the guy, but I know a lot of you guys like ESCANOR. So it's like, if you really want to go for ESCANOR, you can. Like, I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying if you want to have, like, optimal value out of your account, I guess, like, which units are, like, more priority, I guess you could say. So, basically, going over ESCANOR, right? Going over ESCANOR first, which I've already talked about him a lot, but I'll go over him very briefly. Actually, before we get into the video, if you guys want to play Grand Cross on your PC, 60 frames, no lag, completely free, I have a link in the description. You can download BlueStacks, which is the emulator that I use. You can download Grand Cross. It's completely free. It'll help me out a bunch if you do. So if you did, thank you guys. But anyways, let's get into the video. So starting out, Green ESCANOR, excuse me. He is obviously a green unit. His first card, Elegant Blow. Rank 1, 240% attack to one enemy. At rank 2, 300% attack, and it fills his ult gauge by 1. And then at rank 3, it's 500% attack, and it fills his ult gauge by 2. Really good ability, pure damage. Moving on to Cruel Sun. Inflicts damage equal to 180%, ignites for 3 turns. Then, at rank 2, removes buffs. Does 180% damage as well, same damage, and then same ignite stacks, or same ignite for same amount of turns. So the only difference between this rank 1 rank 2 is literally removes buffs, which is kind of dumb, right? Like, it's kind of stupid. But I mean, whatever, I guess. And then rank 3 removes buff, 300% of attack, applies ignite for 4 turns. Applies 2 ignite for 4 turns, excuse me. And then his ultimate inflicts damage equal to 800% of attack to one enemy. Now, somebody actually said that SR Bond had the same multiplier, which let me go see, but I'm pretty sure he has the highest multiplier in the game. Look, 700%. Okay. Maybe he was talking about the other Bond. Let me look. Nope. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure he has the highest ult multiplier in the game. Out of everybody, like, just has the highest multiplier. Because, yeah, nobody else has close. Yeah, he is the highest multiplier in the game. 840 is disgusting. Not to mention, now, I usually don't talk about the stats because it's not a big deal. But one thing to note about this ESCANOR on his stats, he has 80% pierce rate. He's going to be negating, like, a lot of defense. Trust me when I tell you. Like, he just negates a lot of defense. So, that's just one thing to note. He also has 0% crit resistance, but 80% crit defense. So, like, really good crit defense. Anyway, so that is ESCANOR looking at his passive. Basically, when he has max ult gauge, he removes buffs and debuffs. And cannot be debuffed. Or buffed, for that matter. Which, it's a double-edged sword, right? Because you can't get debuffed. But you cannot get buffed either. So, just be aware of that. Me... and a lot of other players, they mess up sometimes because, like, you'll buff him or something, and then he'll get max ult, and then it's like, oh, well, the buff's gone. So, just be careful with that. Understand that's how it works. Moving on to HELBRAM. Red HELBRAM. Obviously, red unit. First ability, inflicts 120% damage, depletes ult gauge by 1. Inflicts 300% damage, depletes ult gauge by 1 as well. Then depletes ult gauge by 3 while doing 450% damage. Really good damage. Moving on to a second ability, 200% damage. At rank 2, it's 200% damage and petrify. And then at rank 3, it's 250% damage and petrifies for 2 turns. Okay. His ultimate cancels buff and stances, 280% attack. It's not that good, right? Not that high damage. But with Gustav, which is a free unit basically, 350%. And maxing out his ult gauge will get him to 525, right? Now keep in mind, his multiplier is low, but his stats are going to be pretty high. Looking at his passive, all his base stats are going to be going up for each surviving ally, meaning he can have a total of 15% because 3 allies. This HELBRAM, I know I didn't talk about ESCANOR as much, but he's pure damage. That's it. Pure damage. Obviously, PvP, PvE, you know, whatever. This HELBRAM, though, is a PvP monster. And I say that because if you guys don't know, let me go ahead and go bars. Let me go to King, Blue King. Blue King increases base stats of fairies by 8%, which is attack, HP, defense. Now, add that with the 15% HELBRAM's getting from himself, you now have 23% increased base stats on HELBRAM. So, like, 23% to attack, defense, HP, on top of, like, he just hits really hard. If you look at King, look, 200, 200, 250. If you look at HELBRAM, 200, 200, 250, but he's way stronger, right? And then if you look at, like, this is King's only damage ability. HELBRAM's other damage ability, 120, 300, 450, taking away ult gauge and having 23% increase, it's just very, very good. HELBRAM is just very good in PvP for what he does. His utility is amazing, and he does really, really good damage. Moving on to the last unit, which would be Meliodas. Red Demon Meliodas. First card, 180 damage, applies Ignite for 3 turns. Second one, 270% damage, applies 2 ignites for 4 turns. And then his third one is 450 damage, applies 3 ignites for 5 turns. So instead, like, ESCANOR's ignites are just not that good because it's only 1 ignite buff unless it's level 3. With Meliodas, it's literally 1 ignite, 2 ignite, 3 ignite, and they each go for more turns, which is amazing, right? His second card inflicts damage equal to 220, 220, and 360 to one enemy. At rank 2, it applies Infect, and at rank 3, it's an Infect for 2 turns, right? This is not, like, this is going to be a really good damage source, but that's only whenever you have a whole bunch of Ignite stacks, right? So, like, you want to slap people with Ignite 2 or 3 times, and then you'll come in with this one, because this one won't do that much damage on its own. Multiplier's not that high. Moving on to his ultimate. Really good ultimate. Applies weak point damage to, 380% to one enemy. Weak point is triple damage to debuff targets. Keep in mind, Ignite is a debuff. So is Infect. Both debuffs. So he's going to be doing triple damage to enemies. It's actually going to be nasty. He's going to be doing almost 12,000. Or 12,000, 1,200, 1,200 damage to enemies. Really, really good. Adding Merlin goes to 440. So he's going to be doing upwards of what? Like 1,300? It's really, really good. Really, really good. It's going to be like 1,320 or something. But long story short, nasty damage, okay? With his weak point, he's doing more damage than ESCANOR. Right? ESCANOR at max stacks, right? Max ult, right? Like, max ult, 6 out of 6. Meliodas does more if it gets weakness. It's actually disgusting. Or around the same. So it's like, it just goes to show how hard he's hitting, right? 840. Meliodas with weak point is doing more. About like, what, 200? Something like that. So, like, it just goes to show how hard his ultimate is hitting. Moving on to his passive. Increase crit chance by 50% for each dead ally. Keep in mind, his crit chance is already 50. If one ally dies, he has a 100% crit chance. 2 allies die, it goes to 150. And at that point, you're critting all of the time. I didn't go over his stats because he doesn't really have any noticeable, like, crazy, you know, stats. But yeah, like, ESCANOR's penetration is amazing, and then Meliodas' crit chance is very good. Now, the question is, who do you go for? Like, who is the first unit out of the, like, what is the tier list on these 3 units to go for? Now, keep in mind, they're all good in PvP. They're all really good in PvP. The best PvP unit out of the 3 would probably be HELBRAM. Not even probably. HELBRAM is the best PvP unit out of the 3. And the reason why I say, now don't get me wrong, all of them are really good. But the reason why I say this, not only does HELBRAM hit stupidly hard, HELBRAM's best friend is the best unit on global, well, not the best unit on global, but, well, let's say this, HELBRAM's best 2 friends are the best 2 units on global right now, which would be King, who is 2nd place, and then Gowther, who is 1st place. Literally, King and Gowther are HELBRAM's best friends. If you have King and Gowther on the team with HELBRAM, he becomes probably the best PvP unit right now. Hey, actually, if he drops, he is the best PvP unit in the game. Like, HELBRAM just is actually the... I know you guys haven't seen gameplay like that. I might do a video. But, like, trust me when I tell you, HELBRAM is just nasty. And, like, whenever you put him with King, who is buffing him even more, and putting him with Gowther, which is allowing HELBRAM to get off higher damage and get off a lot more petrifies than he would, he becomes a monster. So HELBRAM would definitely be the best PvP unit out of the 3. Next would probably be ESCANOR for pure damage, and then like Meliodas. Well, ESCANOR and Meliodas are kind of similar. They're kind of like in the same range. It would go HELBRAM and then like ESCANOR and Meliodas around the same. Like, so, not to mention HELBRAM destroys green ESCANOR, if you guys don't know. Now, for PvE, who is better? The best one would be Demon Meliodas. Now, the reason why is because not only can he stack Ignite stacks on like PvE bosses and then nuke them with his ultimate, he is the best unit for Crimson Raid. He is the best unit for Crimson Demon. He was actually made for the raid. You guys know how, where's he at? You guys know how Green King is made for Grey Demon? It's the same thing with Red Demon Meliodas. He's made for Crimson Demon, right? He's literally made for it. You can look, if you look at my JP account, right? And look at teams. Let's just look at some of my teams, right? This is what I was using for Red Demon right now, which this is a very good team. Gallon's really good, amazing for it. But look, Grey Demon, King, right? Crimson Demon, Demon Meliodas. If you look at Crimson Demon Hell, Demon Meliodas. ESCANOR is better at Grey Demon for Hell, but you got to run ult. You run Ult Rush, which like is a very, very specific team, right? Ult Rush is specific. If you're not running Ult Rush, King is better. Like, so like you got to realize for Grey Demon Hell, ESCANOR is better with Ult Rush, but for any other Grey Demon, it's Green King. So it's like ESCANOR is probably the worst PvE out of the 3 because like HELBRAM just brings utility and his ult AoE and like I don't know. Well, actually, it would go Demon Meliodas is better in PvE, and then HELBRAM, ESCANOR are kind of similar. So keep in mind, right? Out of all of this, HELBRAM is better in PvP than the other 2, and then Demon Meliodas is better in PvE than the other 2. ESCANOR is not better than HELBRAM or Meliodas in either subject. Not saying that he's not good, he's amazing. But ESCANOR is not better than HELBRAM in PvP, and he's not better than Demon Meliodas in PvE. So he is 3rd when it comes to this. But then it begs the question, so who should I go for? Demon Meliodas is a must summon, and the reason why I say this is because Crimson Demon comes out, and you have to do Crimson Demon to get your units to level 75 and to get them to level 80. You have to. HELBRAM is not a must summon. He is a very good unit. He's a very good PvP unit, but you don't need him to see success. You do not need him. And if HELBRAM came out before Gallon, he would have been 10 times better. Because, like, if you guys don't know what Gallon does, Gallon kind of messes over Gowther, King, and HELBRAM. If Gallon taunts HELBRAM no longer can petrify. If Gallon taunts King, King can no longer petrify. Right? So it's just like, with Gallon being out already, HELBRAM isn't as good as he would have been if Galen wasn't. So it's just like don't get me wrong, HELBRAM is not a must summon. He's not a must summon. He's very good. He's not a must summon. Demon Meliodas is, because not only does Demon Meliodas beat Escanor, which is a good thing, but like I said, Crimson Demon, you have to do that to limit break your units to level 75 and to limit break them to level 80. So, as far as order of importance, I would say Meliodas, HELBRAM, Escanor, as far as banners. Now, that isn't to say, what if Escanor comes first? Should I summon on Escanor or should I wait? That's up to you to decide. I can't really tell you who to go for, right? Me personally, I'm going to summon for HELBRAM. I like fairies. I'm using HELBRAM. But I know a lot of people might go for Escanor and not summon for HELBRAM. That's perfectly fine. The only one that I say you have to get, or you want to get, would be Demon Meliodas, because he is the main unit in Crimson Demon Raid. So, yeah, definitely go for that. But anyways, that's going to be it for this video. Be sure to give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, comment down below, tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. With that being said, I will see you guys next time. Peace.